Hello everyone and welcome to another Anvil live stream. My name is Ryan and today we're going to be taking a look at two-factor authentication in Anvil. This is a live stream, so please ask questions along the way. We want to be able to improve it. If you do have anything, I'll try and explain everything as we go. Before we go any further, for anyone that's new here, I just want to explain quickly what Anvil is. Anvil is a platform for building web apps with nothing but Python. So it basically makes web development really fast and really accessible. In today's stream, I'm going to be going through the prerequisites, what you need to know to sort of be able to follow along. Although I will say right on the top, this is a beginner's tutorial and anyone can follow along with a free Anvil account as well. Nothing in here requires a paid account. Then I'm going to go into what we're building. So I'll just show quickly the app that we're going to start with and then the one we're going to finish with. And then finally, I'll go into some live stream objectives, what you can expect to know when you walk away from today. Then I'm going to discuss kind of what is two-factor authentication and why it's important, and then we'll get into the actual kind of coding and building what we're going to the final app with Anvil. That building is going to take going to be in two parts. The first part is going to just be exploring our app and implementing two-factor authentication. One of the great things about Anvil is it's going to make that really nice and simple for us. So that's going to be nice and quick, 10 minutes in. That'll be finished. And then the next bit is going to take sort of 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And that's going to be we're going to build an account settings page. So somewhere where the users of your app can go in and change their profile picture, username, and update their passwords and two-factor authentication. So, just to go over the prerequisites very quickly, you don't need to have used Anvil before. You will need a little bit of knowledge of Python. If you need any help with that, there is links in the description below to resources that you might find useful. This video is going to be up on YouTube, so you're welcome to come back at a later date. As I say, you don't need any experience with Anvil. This is going to be following on the app we're going to be using is going to be one that you can build following a multi-user tutorial app. This is going to be if you're really new to Anvil, it might be worth you going and doing that tutorial and coming back from there. And everything like I said earlier, everything you can do today, you can do with a free Anvil account. Sign up. All you need to do is go to anvil.works and then start building. You can create an account very quickly there. So the objectives for today. We are going to be enabling two-factor authentication in Anvil. We'll be having a look at the two-factor authentication settings, creating a user interface or a form where where users can go in and change their account settings, and then we're also going to do some little work with like adding a couple of columns to a database, and then some basic client and server code. So the app we're going to start with, if I show you this, so. This is the app we're going to start with. This is just a news aggregator app, really nice and simple. It's a CRUD app, which means it sort of creates, reads, updates, deletes items in your database. Users can come in, add an article, edit it, delete it, do all that sort of lovely stuff. What we're going to do at the moment, it starts out, it's just a really simple login. So it starts with single-factor login, which is where you've got an email and a password. I'm just waiting for a password. And then that logs us in. What we're going to end up with is two-factor authentication. So this app here, where we've got an account settings page, and when somebody comes to log in, they can click login, ask for their password, and then we've also got a second factor. So this can be, for me now, that is an authenticator app. So I just need to enter a code from my phone, which will let me in. There we go. And then once we've enabled two-factor authentication, we'll be working to update the account settings. We'll be building this account settings form where someone can go in, change the name of their profile, upload a picture, and then save those details. And then finally also come in and be able to change their password or two-factor authentication and configure their account from there. Okay. So let's get started with that then. I've got a clone link here. So with Anvil, what you can do is clone apps. This clone link, I'll put that in the live chat. If you follow that, what you'll do is, if you come in here, pop that into your browser. That'll take you to the Anvil.works website. If you haven't got an account with us before, then it will ask you to sign up. If not, it's just going to come in and let you make a copy of that app. So I'm going to make a copy here. So now I've got a copy. I've got a clone of this. This is our starting app, like I say. So to just go over the Anvil IDE very quickly. We've got our design pane in the middle, so this is where you can drag and drop components like images, buttons, text components, all the stuff you need to build an app in the first place. On the left-hand side, we've got a breakdown of the code on the client side of our web application, on the server side of our web application, and then any extras like services and themes, so how the app looks. We'll go into the services in a little bit, which today is going to include data tables, which is our database, and the users service. So to enable two-factor authentication, all we need to do is to come into our user service. Now, to add the user service to an app, all you need to do is come in and press this plus button here next to the services, and then there will be the users option for users here. That'll give you a lovely screen in here. It's got really cool functionality out of the box. So things like signing in with Google, Facebook, Azure. You can modify how people can log in. So whether they can just sign up for an account, whether you need to confirm the account for them first. And then to enable two-factor authentication, all we need to do is tick this box. Once that's ticked, you get a couple of other options. So whether you want to allow users to reset their two-factor authentication from scratch, or and how long you want them, the app to remember their two-factor authentication state. So now I've enabled that. I'm going to just allow my users to reset that by email as well. And then if I come up here and publish this app, I'm just going to share this by a public link. It'll give me a default link here. If I go to this link, it'll open this app for us. And then I can put my details in, and this time it's going to ask us for two-factor authentication. I don't have that, I haven't got that set up before, so I'm just going to request that we reset that by email. If I check my emails now, this is just a dummy email account I've got. There we go, got a nice email letting us know that we can reset this, and this link will link will expire in 10 minutes as well, which is handy for the security side. Then we just pop in our password. I'm going to use a hardware token. So hardware token can be anything like a YubiKey or a fingerprint reader on your laptop or phone. And then we have it. So that's just let me know that that is set up. I'm going to come back into my app here. If I run this, put my password, email and password in, and there we go, that's set up, ready to go. It's going to ask me for my hardware token, and that's it. That is two-factor authentication added to your Anvil app. It really is that simple. At Anvil, we really like to make things as easy as possible. The really nice thing as well is you can do that by tick box, get that set up for all of your users. And it adds that additional layer of security that comes with two-factor authentication. What we can do now is the second part of this. I'm going to look at building an account settings page and then start interacting with some of the functions that allow this two-factor authentication to work. So you can actually get under the hood and start looking at the code and adapting it to exactly how you want to work as well, if you wish. So let's take a look at that and let's start building an account settings page. Right, so I'm going to come back into my Anvil IDE, and going to come back into Anvil IDE. I'm going to go to my home page. Now, what I want is an account settings page, so I'm going to create a form for that account settings page. So if I come into the client code on the left-hand side, click on this down arrow, and then I'm going to add a form as a kind of child form to our home page. Set that as a blank form. I'll rename this to account settings. Once we've got that, I can start dragging and dropping components in to build this up. So I'm going to give this form a title of, let's just give it a title of account settings. I'm going to change the role. So the role is just how this component will look. You can build custom roles using the CSS files underlying this as well if you want to, but it also comes with some nice default ones to use. Anvil comes with some nice default ones to use. So got our title. I'm going to drag and drop in a couple of labels. One for, I'm going to let my users change their name. So actually I'm not going to change the name of that label. I'll just change the text. So I'm going to prompt them to be able to change their name, their profile name, if they want it. I'll change the role to an input prompt. Same with this one. This one's going to be for a profile picture, so we'll add a profile picture in a little bit. So let's prompt them for that. Line that to the right. And then here I'm going to have a text box. I'm going to just change the name of this component to the name text box. I'm going to set the what this text box actually contains in a second. We're going to get this straight from the database. And then let's add a picture to our app, or to our form. I'm going to drag and drop this picture, change the name of this to profile picture, and leave that there. Okay, so we've got the basics of a form. In our account settings, I'm going to want them to be able to firstly change the name and then save it, and then upload a new profile picture if they want it. So let's start with the uploading of a profile picture. I'm going to drag and drop an upload button from our toolbox on the right. I'm going to rename this file loader to profile file loader. Let's just call this the profile pic uploader. I'll change the text of this from upload to, let's just call this update profile picture. Then I'm just going to change the role of this. So let's make that raised. So we have a nice button there where they can upload a new profile picture if they want it. Once we've done that, we want the ability for them to be able to save. So let's add a save button. Save profile. Let's just rename this button to save profile button. Text to, let's just rename this to save profile. And then the role itself, I'm going to change that to a primary color so it just stands out a little bit. Okay, so we've got a very basic form for our account settings as the child of our home page. What I'm going to do is when this form's opened, I want it to be able to pull through data from our user account to populate both the profile picture and the name. So the first thing we're going to do that is to go into our data tables. Now data tables in Anvil are like any other database. They're just going to store data for this app. So we've got articles with categories. The one we're concerned with right now is the users table. I'm going to come in, right click, and then insert a column. The first one I'm going to insert is going to be a media column. So this is going to store the profile picture for our user. So profile picture. And then I'm also going to insert a column for the text, and then I'm just going to call that name. Now, as an admin user, as the developer behind this web app, I'm going to just upload a picture straight away and then edit this in here. In a second, what we're going to do is we're going to let people change this from that form that we've just built. So now we've got that in our data tables. If we come back into our account settings form we just built, go into the code. Now this is the this is where we're going to add the details for both of these components. So upon initialization, I'm going to set, first I'm going to set the name box. So actually first I'm going to get the users row from the database. So I'm going to get the user record from the database, which is really nice and easy in Anvil. So I'm going to set self.user because we're going to use this quite a lot. And then I'm going to say anvil.users, use the users module, and then what I can do with the autocomplete is just get our user. Once we've got our user, I can set, there's just going to be a dictionary-like object, which is going to contain all the details from our user row, and it'll also check that our user is authenticated for us, which is very useful. So now I'm going to set the text in my text box, set the text property of that text box to our self.user, and then I'm going to set that to name, which again the autocomplete is going to pick up for us. Similarly with the profile picture, not the profile picture uploader, profile picture. I'm going to set the source of this to, again, our database. Come into our database and pick up that profile picture. Now, what's really cool with the database is it stores it as what Anvil calls a media object, and that can just be called straight away and used there. So I'm going to save this, and then let's have a look in my app itself. I think what I need to do actually. So I've got a form, but I haven't actually built a way of opening it yet. So let's just quickly go into our home page. So we've got our form, it's pulling through data. We just need a way from our home page to open the account settings. So I'm just going to add that to, add a button to our home page. So account settings button, let's just call that. Change the text to, I'm just going to give it, call it account settings. And then role, I'm going to give it a secondary color, and then I'm going to give it an icon of some gears. If anyone has any questions along the way so far, just let me know. Sorry, not gears, I'm going to call it, add an icon of a cog. And now I've got that button. All I need to do with it is add an event handler so that when somebody clicks this button, I'm going to open our account settings form. So all we need to do there is I'm going to open it as an alert. So first of all, I'm just going to import that account settings form. So again, with the autocomplete, I'm just importing from account settings, import our account settings form, and then account settings. I'm just going to make this form large, just to make, because there's going to be quite a lot of information in there. And then buttons, I am just going to add a cancel button. So you can add multiple buttons to alerts and forms in this way, so it's really nice and useful. I'm just going to add one for close, and then when somebody clicks close, all we're going to do is return the value none. You can get a bit more custom with this, but for this app it's nice and simple. So let's save that, refresh our app. And then we've got our account settings button, click on that. And it should open, but it's not. Let's have a look, what are we doing here? Account setting button, click. Let's find out what's going on there. I haven't got any syntax errors, no. It may not have updated. Let's just give that another save, refresh that. Now what you can usually do with Anvil is run the apps within the IDE itself, and because this one is using two-factor authentication, just to make it simpler, I'm just running it in a different tab, but that's the only difference. I don't know why that's not opening. Let's have a look. Oh, I know why. So just missed some parentheses there. Let's give that one more try. Let's give this a little refresh. So because this is Python running in the browser, I'm just going to refresh that. And there we go. So here's our account settings form, built, ready to go. It's pulled through my name from the database, it's pulled through the profile picture that I uploaded. Now I can upload a profile picture. Only problem is, obviously at the moment, these buttons aren't doing anything. So what I need to do now is go back to our account settings form and start adding some functionality for these to change, adding some functionality so that when we click this update profile picture and this save profile button, they actually do something. So let's start with the update profile picture. What I'd like it to do is when somebody uploads a file or changes the file that's uploaded, I want it to call this function, and when it calls that function, I'm going to set the profile picture source to, instead of it going from our database, to the file uploader itself. So self.profile picture uploader, and whatever file that's been uploaded there, that's going to display as our image. That one is nice and simple. From there, the other thing I'm going to do is with our save profile button, again, I'm going to add another click event. So when this button's clicked, what I want this to do now is to take the data from whatever our profile picture is at the time and then the name, and then store that in our database. So we've got the user interface, we've got the data database in the background, so all we need to do is create a very simple function to update those. So coming into our server modules, so this is code that runs in the Anvil cloud, and we know we can trust this code as opposed to client-side code. So I'm going to create a function called update profile, and this function is just going to take two arguments, which is going to be name and profile picture. Profile picture, and then I'm going to use the app tables. In fact, I'm going to use Anvil.users here. So you can either interact with the app tables themselves, or in this case, again, I'm going to be lazy and just get the user straight away using the users module. And then I'm going to set name to equal whatever name they pass in, and then same again, users, get user. It's probably a more efficient way of doing this, but I'm just going to update the profile picture. I'm going to set that to whatever profile picture is passed to the function. So there's a nice little simple function for us that we can call from our client side. On the, if we come back onto our client side, come back into the account settings, now we've got our click event here. So if I come back into code, what I can do is anvil.server.call, which is going to call the function on our server side. The autocomplete is going to pick up the fact that I've got update profile, and then again I'm going to pass it the self.name.textbox, underscore textbox.text. And then whatever my profile picture is as well. So self.profile picture, whatever the source is for that at the moment. Okay, so let's give that a save. Let's see how this updates. Just refresh this. As I say, if anyone's got any questions going along, anything they'd like me to explain any further, please let me know. So we've now got a server function which will update our database for us. I'm going to come in, I'll update my profile picture. I just pulled a painting offline, then let's just go for Ryan B. Let's save our profile, and then if we close out of that, come back to our account settings, we can see that that's updated the data for us. Let's improve that just a little bit. So at the moment it's saving us and it's not really telling us anything off the back of that. So what I'd like it to do really is once that data is called, what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to close my account settings alert. So really simply, I'm just going to raise an event, and there's a default event in here, or an out of the box event, I should say, which is xclose alert. So that's going to close our account settings page that we're looking at when we click this save button. Then I'm going to just give my user a little bit of feedback just to let them know that this profile has been updated. So if I go profile updated, and then I'm just going to say that this is dismissible. I'm going to set the fact that it's dismissible to true, which is just going to add a nice little close button to this alert. And then again, I'm going to reopen, maybe lazy here and pull. I'm going to reopen our account settings panel as another alert. So like I say, what this is doing is when this is clicked save, it's going to close the initial account settings alert. It's going to give us a bit of feedback with the profile updated, and then it's going to reopen our account settings to bring our user back to where they were. So let's run this app again. If we take a look now, so click on our account settings, let's just do this again. I'm just going to update the name, change our profile picture back, save our profile, and then this time it's just going to give us a nice little notification, profile updated, and then there we go, we can see those changes. Thanks, Michael, we certainly like it. We do think it's a good way of building web apps, so thank you for that. So our users back at our account settings. Now, for the purposes of this live stream, I'm not going to go much further with obviously all the amount, all the possible options you could have with what you want your user profiles to look like. The last thing we're going to do is I'm going to give them the ability. So at the moment, out of the box, when somebody logs out during the out of the box login process, it's going to allow us to either reset our password by email, or again, it's going to let us reset our two-factor authentication. Now we can customize this. With Anvil, you're able to not only just use the you don't have to just use the user management service and click on the tick box to implement this. What you can do is actually get at the underlying functions and start using those to really improve your app, and you can make all kinds of custom user authentication workflows. So I'm not going to do all of that today, but what I am going to do is just show you kind of one of those basic functions that you can get to design something a little more funky. So account settings. What I want to do now is I'm going to have a security section. So let's just split these out. I'm going to do a little subheading here just to say this is the profile subsection. Again, the role, this is a subheading. And then as this one, let's just say, I'll just call this subsection security. And then, helps if I click on it and stay on it. There we go. Security, then we're going to call this a subheading. And all I want to do is I'm going to bring in a button, and this button is going to reset. I'm going to call this the reset authentication button. And then I'm just going to call it reset password or or two-factor auth. I'm not the smartest at coming up with button names, so I'm sure you could come up with something more catchy than that for your users. I'm going to give this a primary button, primary color, and then add a click event to it. And again, it's going to bring us back into our code. Every time someone clicks this button, what we want it to do is just present our... again, what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to close our account settings button, our account settings form, sorry. And then all we're going to do is use the Anvil. So I'm going to take this. So the Anvil's user service has a really nice function called configure account with form. Configure account with form will just bring up a nice out-of-the-box form for you where people can edit their password and second-factor authentication. So I'm going to call that. Then I'm going to call another alert. Once they've gone through that form, I'm going to do exactly what we've done up here with our save profile, and I'm just going to bring them back around to the account settings page. So the key thing to focus on here is this configure account with form. Now I've implemented that, I can come back into our profile. Come back into our profile, and then when I go back into our account settings, our users are going to be able to configure their passwords. So, just zoom out a little bit. I can reset that, and there we go. Out of the box, we've got a nice configure account. We can come in, change our password, configure our two-factor authentication. I'm going to use my current password. I can just reset my hardware token. There we go. It lets us know that that's been reset. Once we're done with configuring our account, it comes back out and we've got our account settings. Now, if you're interested, the users module in Anvil has a lot of functions, as you can imagine, and there's a lot of ways that you can make custom authentication, all along those lines. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put in the live chat the user service, and then so I thought I had this link before I logged in, but apparently not. So if anyone is interested, here is the link for the logging in with code. So like I said, I've just used probably one of the simpler functions from that, which is the logging in, configuring account one, but you're more than welcome to have a look into those documents, the documentation, and start building out some custom workflows. So that is it for today. That's all I had for this live stream. If anyone has any questions, anything you'd like me to elaborate on, or any ways that you think I could improve this app, please do let me know. If not, I'm going to stay around for a couple of minutes longer, just to see, as there's a delay on this live stream, just to see if there's any questions that come in. But there we have it. That is basically the account settings. If you've enjoyed this live stream, I'm planning to do more. Ideally, I want it to be a session where people can come and we can really start building apps out, playing around with Anvil, seeing what it can do, and coding together live. If you have any questions after this live stream, you're more than welcome to go to our forum. Whenever I'm doing these live streams, I try to announce them a couple of weeks in advance. Will allow people to ask questions on the forum if they can't make this. Like I say, this video is going to be uploaded to YouTube afterwards anyway for you to all watch. There's the announcements page, which is where these live streams will be going out. So I haven't had any questions as yet. In that case, I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you for everyone that joined me along the way today. I hope that is useful. It's been a real subsection of what Anvil can do, but I hope that you can make your apps, that little bit more secure with two-factor authentication, and can start building out some really nice custom authentication with your web applications. Please, please let me know if there's any questions. I'm on the forum, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Thanks.